Lots to discuss as we still digest this bracket. 65 teams is quite a mouthful. And joining us now to talk about the bracket and everything that went into the selections this time around is Dan Guerrero, who will be the chairman of the NCAA Selection Committee next year at this time. Dan, thank you for joining us from Indianapolis. How much of a task is it to put 65 teams into one bracket?
It's quite a chore. We've been working on this process since November, watching a lot of games, evaluating a lot of data, giving all these teams the eyeball test. These last 5 days have been arduous, to say the least, but it's an exciting process, and we feel that we have a very good field for the tournament this year.
Dan, this is Steve Lapis here. My question to you is, this year, what seemed to be the main theme for getting into the tournament? It seems like every year, not that there's something different, but something is emphasized a little bit more than other things. What could it be this year?
Well, it's really the same thing every year. It's who you play, it's where you play, it's with whom do you play, and how you do. And I think as we evaluated the field this year, we looked at those 4 criteria as really the guiding principles. And for the most part, I would say that those things are the paramount elements.
Mr. Guerrero, how was, I know some years you have teams that sort of played their way into the tournament that weren't necessarily in it going into conference tournament play. Not the ones who won their conference tournament, but who actually played well in the conference tournament to get in. Did you have any teams like that this year?
Well, Bruiser, we have a lot of teams that we need to evaluate that are all on the table for consideration. And as you well know, not every quality team made the field. And so at the very end, we're looking at those things that can separate one team from another. Whether it's how they did in conference play, how they did in tournament play. Certainly, we looked at the entire body of work, and included in the body of work is a tournament. And so if a team played particularly well, that might have been taken into consideration as to whether someone made the field or not made the field.
Dan, Pete Gillen, looked like a real big factor with the strength of schedule, both in conference and non-conference. Is that accurate?
Pete, that's very accurate. Obviously, we look at each team on an individual basis, and you hear the trite expression, body of work. And the body of work includes everything that occurs from November till today. So we've often talked about those early games in preseason tournaments in November and December. Those games are important, and it's the full specter of the competition that a team goes through during the course of the year. Non-conference season, conference season, postseason tournaments, conference tournaments. Those are all very important to the equation, and we look at all of those things when we evaluate teams.
And Dan, for the second year in a row, we had a surprise champion in the SEC conference. Maybe not as big as last year with Georgia winning it, but Mississippi State earlier today taking the SEC championship. Can you estimate the 1 or 2 teams whose chances completely ended when Mississippi State got an automatic bid and took an at-large away?
Well, it wouldn't be fair to me to estimate what teams they are. Essentially, what we do is at the very end, when we're looking at those last few teams, we look at them in terms of a group. In fact, it was Commissioner Slive, this year's chair, who said this year was a year where you expect the unexpected. And certainly Mississippi State winning that tournament did knock someone off the bubble. But that's something that occurs just about every year. And as you all know, not every team can get in. The pundits have evaluated this thing from top to bottom, and they know those teams that ultimately were left out of the tournament. And sometimes that happens as a result of an upset in a conference tournament.
Yes, we've learned to expect the unexpected. We don't know where to expect it to come from sometimes. Dan Guerrero, thank you very much for joining us, and best wishes taking over next year as chairman of the selection committee for Mr. Slive.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.